In this lesson in Microsoft Excel 2010, I want to examine columns and rows a little closer. First of all, when you type in Excel, it'll allow you to type in A1 and then it'll borrow part of B and keep borrowing all of these. You can keep typing as much as you want, and it appears as though you're in B1 and C1, but you're really not. All of this is in A1, and we're kind of borrowing the space from B1 until B1 decided that it wanted to be something. So if I wanted to type something in B1 right now, like the number 9, right, the part of A1 that was showing is no longer showing, right? It just isn't there because we're using B for something. But if there wasn't anything in B, it would allow me to use its space. If you're not comfortable with borrowing the space from another column, you have a couple of choices for sizing. The first and easiest, I think, is to simply put your mouse up here between the A and the B and double click. Double click will adjust the column to as wide as it needs to be. So it found the widest entry in this column and it adjusted the column to be that wide. If you want to manually do this, you can click and drag and make the column as wide as you'd like. So those are your two best options for sizing of a column, and the same thing with a row. If you wanted a row to be deeper, you can do it just like that. The next thing I want you to know is that you can insert columns and rows pretty much anywhere you want. So if you select column A and then go to Insert, Column, okay, so now you've got a brand new column right there. You can delete a column the same way. Now, if you delete a column, you not only delete the contents of the column, you delete the column, so everything will be gone. So sometimes you just want to hit your delete key to delete the contents, but sometimes you just want to get rid of the entire column, and you can do that by simply coming here and going delete, and then it will get rid of that entire column. Okay, even if it had contents, the contents would have been gone as well. But I want a column there, so I'm going to insert one anew. There's a feature in Excel called Merge and Center. It's quite popular, actually. So if I want this label to be centered across all of these columns, the first step is I must move it in the leftmost cell. So I want it to start there, so I'm going to move it there. The next thing you need to do is click and drag across the columns you want. Now, a couple things about clicking inside of Excel. When you're in the middle of the cell, your cursor is a big white poofy plus sign, and that will allow you to click and drag across several cells. If your cursor or your mouse turns into a 4 arrows pointing, that's your move option. That will allow you to move this cell or the content of the cell anywhere you want. That's not what I wanted here. So when you want to select across a range of cells, you want the big white poofy one. You don't want this one. And of course you've got your fill handle, which I talked about in the first lesson, and I'll be talking about again in another lesson, but your fill handle copies the contents of a cell, or it fills in a range, depending what it is you're doing. So here, it would simply copy that. Okay. So when I'm saying that I want you to select a group of cells, you need the big white poofy one. So go right in the middle of your cell and just click and drag across. So now that you've selected the columns across which you want this centered, you can now come to Merge and Center. And now it took all those cells, made them one, and centered your label inside. So that's Merge and Center. Very easy to use. So those are your basic features as far as rows and columns. The ability to add, to delete, to size, and then to Merge and Center.